Hello and welcome everyone. I just want to start off with explaining why this isn't part 3, this is part 2.5. Now, when I started this series, I made 2 promises. Well, in the last episode I made a promise, and I've made a promise for this whole series, at least to myself. Now, I said in episode 2 that episode 3 would have the combat system, and I don't have that yet. And the promise I made to myself was to always have a video out every week. But I want to discuss later what I can do instead of making 0.5 videos just going over bugs and small things here and there. So that's gonna be about in the end of the video. So with that said, I think we should just get into the additions, fixes and tweaks I've made to the game. Alright. So first thing that has been made is some visual tweaks. This is including fog, as you can see when we are standing in this completely unlit room, or well, with the exception of these and that over there, you can actually still see the walls and stuff, and that's because there's a exponential height fog modifier or shader on top of all this. So you can also see it if you look at the sky and then you go up like this, then you'll see it like becoming more blue, more like that. That's actually the fog interacting with the sky sphere. So well, it looks pretty cool, and it gives a pretty cool view of everything once you're in the ideal lighting conditions and stuff. So like the tunnel here looks pretty cool with it, and this too. So I like the effect a lot. The second thing that's been made with the visuals is the lighting. We've boosted the saturation of the sun, so it looks a lot more yellow now. And on top of that, the shadows are also a little more purplish blue now. And I did this because I thought all the blocks here, all the buildings, they looked very just white. Like it wasn't very color interesting, and I thought that was getting pretty boring. So I've decided that that's not what I want to do. So I upped the color on the lights there a little bit. Next thing is a new feature for the grappling, and that's because before, as you might remember, you could grapple and then jump. Now, you might not want to do that, because if I grapple down here and I just want to like walk, I can't actually do that. I have to jump to get out of it. That might not be what you want. So instead, you can now grapple to somewhere, and you can just press Control to detach that grapple. This goes for walls as well. And it's just like we're going for a pretty fast-paced game. It's another addition just for the development to respawn a character. But we want to go for a pretty fast-paced game, but sometimes you want to slow down just a little bit, so you can detach your grapples instead of jumping all the time. It just makes your movement a bit more precise and feels pretty good to have that. So next thing is you can actually now climb and grapple into climbing walls. Now you might remember this, that sometimes there was this bug that when I grappled onto a ledge, I would just slide off it, and that was because it wasn't possible to climb it while grappling and stuff. Now that's possible. Now you can actually glide and grapple into climbings, and it's a small thing, but it's like a necessary thing like that. So it feels pretty good, and it makes movement a lot easier too, because, well, it was actually a bug, so that's a bug fix. Next thing that's been made is gliding is actually now where we want it to be. You might remember the last time I said that it wasn't really where we wanted it to be, because it didn't feel right, and it does now. It's not like flying anymore, it's like actual gliding. So you see there is a bit of gravity and stuff, but you can actually traverse more with this, and it doesn't limit you in any way. It actually creates more opportunities. Like you can go up here by combining jumps and grapples and climbs. You can actually easily get up to pretty good heights just by gliding and grappling, because you have a little jump boost whenever you grapple. So you can combine those to get some interesting results. Next thing is there's a new camera whenever you're grappling. So last time when I did this, you just saw this, but when you aim, you adjust the camera up so you can actually see where you're aiming. So now it's possible for you to shoot over on another wall or just down on the ground, and that's pretty neat. But that's been made now. You've also got a few camera fixes. The way grappling worked before was that we shoot from just the aim camera, which is this one. Now that made it that you couldn't really aim properly, but that's not a thing anymore, so that's nice. Then there are some things that you can't really see here in game, and that's the code optimization, because there's a lot of coding. This is the dev only sector, just ignore that, but this is all the coding for the game as of now, and it's been optimized pretty heavily, so it looks a lot neater, first of all, and it's a lot easier to get around in. I can be like, okay, I want the inputs, they are all in here, like this is what happens when you press space and stuff, this is what happens whenever you press R, and this is the left mouse button. It doesn't do a lot right now, but it's nice to have that. Also the climbing system, and one for the grappling system, and then one for the gliding system. That's pretty straightforward. And then basic movement, just walking and looking around. But you still need to have all this and stop all that, just cancels all functions going. So that's pretty neat, and it works a lot better. So that's nothing you'll actually see in the game, but still something I've been working on, and optimizes a lot of things. And then the biggest bug in the game was actually fixed. Now I can re-enable it, and I can show you what it is. Let me show you why it happened too. So there's this note here whenever we want to climb a wall that says align to wall. Now this part here essentially makes it so that the bug doesn't happen, but if I drag these nodes over here, compile it, and then run the game, I can actually show you what it is and why it's so bad. So if I go over here, see, that would first of all happen. Then sometimes you'd be extra lucky and get the secret human helicopter glitch. Yep, here it is. Now as you can see, whenever I press W, I start spinning. Hold on a minute. And if I hold down space, I now spin extra quickly. It's horribly broken, and this was the worst glitch in the whole game. Took about 1 or 2 weeks to fix it, and all it had to do was to ignore these two inputs, and that's it. Now it just straight up doesn't happen anymore. So luckily it works as intended now, but that was really frustrating. That was a part of the game, but I'm glad it's gone now. It was the worst thing in the whole game. So that's gonna do it for the actual game changes. Now I want to quickly talk about some other stuff about the lack of the combat system, why that actually is. So yeah, let's get to that. Okay, so the reason why we don't have a combat system yet is because of animations. Now, our first idea for this was to export the model from Unreal Engine 4 and then give it new animations and then put them in. Now, that would have worked with the standard mannequin model that's in the game. Only problem is, it might not work with the actual model we want to use later on. We could go two ways from here. Either we could make an entirely new model that would take a little longer time but save us time in the long run, because this model would work. When it's made, it'll work with the animations we've already got, and we can make new animations for it too. We could either do that, or we could instead redo all the animations later when we're making the new model. And we decided to go with making the new model now. And this isn't just gonna be a placeholder model, this is gonna be in the actual game. So it's gonna take a little time to get that developed. But it's on a pretty good progress. It's not finished or near finished yet, but here's a few screenshots of how it looks. So it's gonna be done pretty soon. It just needs the feet, the head, and the arms and hands, and then it's done. So that'll be done very soon, I promise you. And lastly, I want to quickly talk about what I could do instead of just making like X.5 videos like this one is. So instead I could make some lore videos explaining parts of the world or story of the world to you and the characters and stuff. I could do that, or I could make a video pitching the game and the story of this game, because I realized I haven't actually explained what this game is gonna be about. I'm glad all you guys like it so far, and I hope you'll like the game when it's actually finished. But I think I'm gonna do that, like, quote unquote pitching video anyway, because I think it's pretty important for you to know what we are actually aiming for, and the story of the game, the premise of the game. So I'm definitely gonna do that, probably as the next video. And if you guys are interested in the lore videos, I could make those too. So yeah, that's basically gonna be it for this one. Thank you for watching, and I hope you'll join in next time again. If you've got any feedback for what we've got or what we could need, please drop a comment. Tell what you like, tell me what you don't really like, and I'll look into it. So see you guys next time.